Hello, and welcome back into another episode of the Champions Standard Podcast. I'm Jay Bowles, and I'm a sprinter at Tulane University, and this podcast is all about giving you a behind-the-scenes look at the journeys of current and former college athletes. And, we dive into the stories, the highs, the lows, kind of all the lessons that they've learned and what it really takes to compete at such a high level in college. And so in this episode, it's going to be a little different. I'm going to be sharing a little bit more from my perspective. So there's not going to be a guest on today's episode, but I will be sharing some highlights of what I've learned from some of the previous podcast guests. And I will be sharing my perspective on some of the points that they shared, because I feel like I can provide some added context and just some more knowledge on to what they already said and what they explained so accurately, and I thought were such great points. And so I just wanted to kind of build on those points that they brought up and kind of share about kind of the life of a college athlete from my own perspective, and kind of what it is and what it isn't, and kind of some of the misconceptions or some of those things that are maybe not as known to everyone that isn't living the life of a college athlete. So I just wanted to kind of jump on an episode and kind of share some of my thoughts on it. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and let's get into it. Hello, and welcome back into this episode. And before we get started on kind of the meat of this episode with the lessons and kind of misconceptions and that type of stuff, I just wanted to kind of share a little bit about me, because I feel like I haven't really done that so far during this podcast's existence. I think, although this podcast isn't about me, I don't want it to be about my life, my experiences. I want it to be about other people's experiences and lessons they've learned, because I feel like those lessons can be valuable, not only to me, but obviously my goal is to get that out to the world. And I think that's really what I want to share. That's my ultimate goal for this podcast. But I think I kind of owe it to the listeners of the podcast and whoever's curious that they know a little bit more about the voice of the podcast, the person asking the questions. Because if you don't know anything about the person asking the questions, why would you think I'm fit to host this podcast? So I just wanted to kind of get on and kind of share a little bit about myself. So grew up in Minneapolis, Minnesota. First 16 years of my life, transferred down to IMG Academy in Florida. I was there for my junior and senior year. And then now I'm at Tulane. So that's kind of how I got to Tulane, where I am right now. And I think along that journey is where I really discovered my love for track and field. It was, playing a lot of sports, growing up, from basketball, football, soccer, track, you name the sport, golf, whatever it is, experiencing all of it, going through the lessons, the hardships, all that kind of stuff it was really valuable. And I think for me, why I ultimately ended up on track is kind of a combination of things, not just necessarily that it was something that I was having success in, because I was having success in other areas, but it was something because it was an individual endeavor that I was really invested in bettering myself and kind of finding that success in something that's individualized and something that's solely up for me to determine the results. And I think that's kind of what drew me to track and field. And I think that's kind of honestly a lot of my life, as to how I see it, is like I'm trying to always find different ways that I can individually better myself. And I think that definitely applies to track and field, obviously, as it is an individual sport. But I think if we go a little bit deeper, I think that applies to the rest of my life as well. So I'm as I mentioned on previous episodes, not in significant detail or anything, but I'm a sprinter. I do the 100 and 200 meters primarily, 60 meters indoors. So that's kind of what I do. But I think this podcast is more about just about what I do, or what X person is that I'm interviewing does, or their accomplishments, or whatever it is that their life has brought them within the sports world. And I think that's kind of what I'm trying to get at in this episode, is kind of more than what just happens on the field, on the track, on the court, on the ice, whatever the playing surface is. I kind of want to get more beyond that. And I think, my background obviously has I've been in a lot of different environments, high achieving environments, um, around some very successful people, successful athletes, and I've been able to grow a lot, as an individual, both within my sport and outside my sport, just due to a lot of different experiences that I've had. So I think that's kind of why I've always found joy in kind of learning about other people, because I always just found myself in different environments and always found it necessary to learn about others and kind of learn about their stories and all that kind of stuff to really feel immersed and feel a part of the environment that I'm in. So I think that's kind of why what's drawn me to podcasting, and kind of why I am also just wanting to share this episode with everyone, because um, I think it's valuable. I think everyone's story is valuable, and I just wanted to kind of um, contribute to that in any way that I can. So I think just touching on some like previous lessons from previous guests, I think there's been plenty of takeaways that I could highlight from everyone. And I don't want to single out anyone individually, because everyone's had great points, everyone's had great stories, um, to go along with their amazing accomplishments and all that. But I think if we're looking at some kind of higher level takeaways from all the guests and what they have shared, is that I think one of the key words that has kind of stuck out to me is the word resilience over the course of the episode so far. And that's really been something that's stuck with me, not just in terms of on the field, on the court, on the track, but also outside of that, whether that be injuries, academics, whether that be family, whether that be in relationships, whatever that is. I think that's kind of one of the main words that stuck with me so far during these episodes, is that resilience is something that you have to have. It's really a non-negotiable, whether you're an athlete, whether you're whether you're just a regular person working a 9 to 5 job, whether you're a father, whether you're a mother, whether you're a coach, whatever it is you do. I think that if you don't have resilience, it's going to be hard to be successful, because that you have to be able to bounce back from situations that are maybe not what you imagine. But I think that's what really separates the successful people from the non-successful people, is that that ability to have resilience and not dwell on past experiences and kind of bounce back. So I think that's been one of the main takeaways, is that almost for everyone throughout these episodes, it's been, okay, I've had to be resilient at some point in my career. It's not just like everything's been uh, a straight climb up the mountain. It hasn't been like that at all, for any of my guests, as far as I can remember. And that's something that I share as well. That's definitely not my path. I can for sure say that, and I can in future episodes I'll talk to even more people about their past and how they got to where they are and what their journey looked like. But if I were to guess that in the future, I don't think anyone's path is going to be a straight line. Like, I don't think anyone's journey to success is going to be a straight path in exactly how they imagined it. If it is, um, great for them. But I think it's something that you have to have, whether you're an athlete, again, whether you're an athlete, not an athlete, any field. Let's be honest, any field, you need resilience, because it's one of those things that if you have, then you can overcome those situations where it feels like you're not going to be successful, whether it feels like the world is all stacked against you, where the odds feel like they're not in your favor. That's when you can show that resilience and kind of show that you're better than others, that don't have that resilience. So I think that's what all the guests that have been on this podcast so far really showed and exemplified throughout their lives. I think that's why they've been so successful up to this point, is that they've had the ability to demonstrate resilience in multiple different ways, in multiple different scenarios and examples throughout their life. So I think that's kind of my main, one of the main words I think of when I think about the episodes I've had so far. And the next one is, it ties into that somewhat. I would say it's the word perseverance. So you may say, okay, resilience, perseverance, similar things. Yeah, I can get that, but in my opinion, I think that perseverance in the context of sport manifests itself in a lot of different ways. So you have, the people that have to persevere through injuries. You have the people that have to persevere through not having success, not having success, going through those ups and downs, going over those mountains, whatever it is. And I think it's something where you don't really know what it is until you're actually fighting the battle that you're in. It's like something that when everything's going well, you don't necessarily have to exemplify it, right? And it's not that you don't have the ability to, it's that you're not always having to use that use that trait that you have. And I think the people that have that perseverance are the people that aren't the ones that are stagnant. And that's why I think if you are able to persevere through situations, that's why you're successful. You're not successful just because you were great once. That's not why you're successful. I think what everyone's talked about on this podcast is that yes, they've had successful moments here and there, to get where they're at. They're obviously at a very high level in whatever sport is that, or whatever sport it is they compete in. But I think what's really been key for all of them is that they have demonstrated an ability to persevere through situations that feel bleak, that don't feel like there's a positive outcome on the other side. Like those are the moments where that's what separates people in sports. Not just in I'm not saying in college sports, professional sports, amateur, whatever it is, competitive sports. And I think I don't want to speak for people in other industries, other fields, other areas of life. But from conversations I've had, I feel like perseverance is a trait among very successful people. And if you have that trait, you're going to be able uh, to at least see some level of success. And I think um, that's what really sticks out. Those two words, I know they're similar. I get it. But I think still those are two like things that really stick out to me is like resilience, perseverance. You have those two things, then I'm not saying you don't have to have skill, talent, all that other stuff, will to win, all that other stuff. You do, but I think this is kind of two of the words that stick out from guests that I've had on this podcast so far that I think that really stick out to me, and I think are things I just wanted to highlight. And yeah, so I think even like moving on to different things in the academic athletic balance side of the student athlete in college, I think, yeah, my perspective, I'm not speaking for everyone. I don't want to be speaking for everyone at all. uh so I'm not going to. This is my opinion, my experience, all that. I think that it's something where the balances of academics and athletics are something that you have to understand before you make the decision to pursue being a student athlete at any level. Not Division 1, not Division 2, not just Division 3, all any level, any sport. I don't care what sport. If you want to be successful, if you want to do it both things seriously, you have to recognize the demands that come with it at the beginning. Um, I think, you know, that's something where it takes time. Obviously, you're not going to be able to just, it's very few people that are able to just come in right away, be highly successful athletes, highly successful in the classroom, and maintain that for 4 years or however long they're in college, whether they go pro after 1, 2, 3 years, whatever. Being able to do that over 4 years is very challenging. And I'm not saying it's impossible. There's people that have done it, even people that have been on this podcast. But I think that ability to balance the academics and athletics is something that takes time. It's one of those things where you got to master your craft. It's a craft in its own right. It's not just, hey, I was a good planner in high school. I could balance that, and I could balance my schedule in high school, so I'm gonna be able to do it in college. Like, unfortunately, that's not the same as the college student athlete experience. It's just not. Um, you have to. I mean, first of all, the schedules, the class you're on is so regimented. Like, basically, half, if not more than half of your day is already completely booked in terms of it's already completely set in terms of your schedule. Um, that you really have to be locked in during those times. So whether that's in team meetings, whether that's in practice, whether that's in competition, whether that's in travel, whether that's in the classroom, like there's like certain parts of the day, I would say at least half, if not more than half, for college athletes. At least I'm speaking from my experience, that it's totally booked up. Like, there's no negotiating that part of the schedule. Like, that's just something that you have to do in order to be a part of it. And so I think that's what you have to kind of come to grips with, is that, hey, you know, do I want to do this? Like, is this something that, okay, I'm in class. I like my sport. I like education. I like learning. I like all that stuff. Is this something I really want to do? Like, you got to ask yourself that question. It's like, you have to your schedule is not going to be as free as a lot of other people, as anyone else. Matter of fact, it's not going to be as free as anyone else. You're not going to have the time to do all these other things. So it's like, you have to have just that. You just have to have that recognition to know that that's what the reality of the situation is. And then outside of that, I think that's where you got to just be aware and just make sure that whatever it is you're doing is kind of not interfering with what it is you're doing in the classroom or on the field, on the court, on the track, whatever the playing surface is. I know I've repeated playing surface, but you get what I'm saying. So I think, so whatever it is, you're basically, what I'm trying to get at is balancing academics and athletics is challenging. It's not easy. You have to be willing to sacrifice certain things. You have to be able to stay on top of your schedule. You have to be able to pay attention to communications from a lot of different people, a lot of different lines of communication, because it's going to come from a lot of places. There's not going to just be one central location for you to receive communications from, whether that be from class, coaches, professors, tutors, whoever it is. Um, it's going to be, you're going to have to be on top. You have to be on top of that, and you have to be able to recognize when to check certain things. You just have to be on top of a lot of things, more than someone who's just pursuing an academic path in college. And I think that's what kind of what I want to highlight, about the balance. I could get a lot more into detail about specifics, schedule, morning schedule, afternoon schedule, travel, all that. And if people want to hear about that in future episodes, I will definitely touch on that. But I think that's something that I definitely want to just kind of share about. There's a balance, and it takes a long time to master that balance. It doesn't come easy, but if you are able to do that, you can be successful at both academics and athletics in college. It, it you don't have to be the smartest person. You don't have to be the most talented person. But if you're able to balance those two things and be able to work at those two things, whatever your sport is, whatever your major is, whatever it is you're trying to pursue, you can be successful. Matter of fact, you will be successful. I can guarantee you that. Next, I kind of want to highlight some, common misconceptions when it comes to being a student athlete, because I know I've heard from a lot of people what they think being a student athlete is, what your responsibilities are, what you have to do, what you don't have to do. There's a lot of things, there's a lot of things people say. Uh, Again, this is just my opinion, just my perspective, but I just kind of want to respond to some things I've heard, some things that also people have touched on in these episodes. Uh, I think one of the ones that actually sticks out to me right now is the fact that there's a previous guest of mine that highlighted how athletes, we're humans, we're real people. Like we're not some creature from another planet that has spawned in on a campus doing a sport, not able to talk to you, not able to talk to other people. That's not what it is at all. I think it's honestly something that I understand why people would understand why people would think, hey, it's this person's a student athlete. They're 50% committed. There's only 50% committed to academics. I'm 100% committed to academics. Like, why should I take them seriously? Or, they're athletes. They're here. They're the popular ones. Like, why I don't feel like I should be able to talk to them. Like, like that's those two things can be further from the truth. Like, I really just think that we're just normal people. I mean, let's just be honest. Everyone here is just a normal person. Everyone's able to. We like to communicate. We like to be passionate about things. We're not just you know robots that go to class, go to practice, go to games, go to meets, go to competitions, and just live no other life. Like, that's not what it is. Like, we have passions, we have interests outside of those things. Like, that's not unique to me. That's not unique to the guests I've had on this episode, on this podcast. This is something that, without a doubt, that I know every student athlete at on a college campus has or has had in the past, if they are now graduated, so, or have left, gone pro to go pro. I think that's one of the things. It's like, okay, we're real people. It's not we're not we're not we're not just here living such a basic life that we have no other ability to function outside of the two areas, athletics and academics. Like, we're passionate about other things. Again, I shouldn't use we. I'm passionate, but I know for a fact that other people are as passionate as well. So yeah, that's definitely a thing. Another thing, other misconception, just want to say this, not that everyone believes this at all, but I've heard from different people that, you know, that athletes are not serious students. You say, oh, what do you say? Oh, no one thinks that, or well, why would someone think that? They're at the school like everyone else. Yeah, right. Yes, that's that's exactly the point. But no, listen, there's really a lot of things that you hear that are funny, and this is kind of the tip of the iceberg. I mean, not serious academics. Like, are you kidding me? Like, there's people that are have significantly higher GPAs that are athletes than those that are non-athletes. Like, that's a fact. Don't tell me it's not, because I can pull up the numbers. Like that's a fact. Like we're not just here because we're good at a sport. We're not just here because someone recruited us. Like, we're not just here because we got scholarship money. It's like, okay, well, you're also here because of academics. Like that plays a part in why someone chooses a school. It's not. I'm not saying it's at the top of the priority list for everyone, but you have to take it seriously to a certain extent because listen, there's eligibility requirements that you have to hit. And in a lot of scenarios, people aren't just striving for the minimum. At least I'm not. And I know a lot of other people aren't. They're not just striving for the baseline requirement. Oh, I meet this requirement, therefore I can, I know the top 1% of people, sure. Even then, I'm not sure that those people are just like, academics doesn't matter. I don't need to try. Like, most people are, for the most part, athletes in college are going to try because they know they have to put in effort to be successful and they want to show that they're putting in effort and showing to their showing to whoever that to themselves, to other people, to coaches that, you know, hey, I'm a serious student. This is not. I'm not just an athlete. I'm more than an athlete, and that's something. Um, that's also a great um, little side tangent that the more than an athlete thing by LeBron James with Uninterrupted. His company, I think, is a great kind of slogan that he has. I actually have one of his sweatshirts, and I think that's really that's a really good message. More than an athlete. Um, that's a good that's a good little thing. That's a good little message that can really be shared to a lot of people. But just going back to kind of those other misconceptions, I think one of the things that is so often shared, it's that people think that sports are the only part of student athletes' identity. Okay, well, let's look at me for an example. That's obviously not the case. I wouldn't be doing a podcast if that's the case. I wouldn't be doing a lot of other things. I wouldn't be going to church. I wouldn't be doing all these other things in my life, community service. I wouldn't be doing all these other things if that's my only identity. If it's the only thing that matters to me, then that's all I would be doing. That's just not the reality. People are more than what they do on the field, on the court. They're more than that. They have lives, they have passions. As I've said, they have passions, they have interests, they have great perspective as athletes that they can share with other people in whatever field it is they're pursuing or whatever other interests they have. Like, this perspective of a student athlete is so unique and so helpful that it really is not something that's, oh, it's you're only a student athlete and that's all you do. That's not the reality. Like, there's so much more that student athletes can give than people think. We're not just a you live just for your sport. No, that's not what it is. I live for more than that. I know other people that I've had on this podcast live for more than that. So that's not true. So let's put that behind us. That's not it at all. So we are more than just athletes. We are more than an athlete. So that's really, again, more than an athlete. That's the message I want to send about these misconceptions. Um, that you really can tie into any of these things. And as I think, hey, if anyone says anything, more than an athlete. But you know, as we kind of get into the end of this episode, I kind of want to kind of just give some personal messages about kind of advice for aspiring athletes and really, or honestly, really anyone. Again, this is not just for athletes coming up or current athletes, former athletes. This is for everyone. This is not just something that I think is can only be applied by one group of people. I think what I'm about to say is really really can be really helpful to a lot of people. So the thing I just want to say really to everyone is just keep going. It's really that simple. You're going to have moments where things aren't going your way, where you feel like it's easy to quit, where you feel like I just can't do it. I just can't get over that hump. There's something limiting me. I can't achieve what I want to achieve. Just keep going. At the end of the day, it's all about pushing through that barrier. Whatever it is you're doing in life. It doesn't matter if you're a college athlete. It doesn't matter if you're a pro athlete. It doesn't matter if you're someone who just plays sports on the weekend. Whatever it is, whoever you are, whoever's listening to this, I just want to make sure that you understand that if you keep going, you will be successful. You will find success in your life. You will get to a moment in your life where you'll feel successful and where you'll feel like you've achieved something. But you have to keep going. You have to believe that something good will happen, and you have to be able to work. You have to be willing to work for that. And if you are, you will be successful, like I've mentioned on this episode already. So just keep going. That's my message. I think that's what everyone on this podcast so far has shared, that you have to keep going. As an athlete, there's someone always chasing you. There's always someone coming for your roster spot, coming for your scholarship spot, coming for that title, coming for that championship belt. You have to keep going. That's the bare minimum. You have to keep fighting through adversity, whoever you are, not just athletes. Keep going, keep fighting, keep believing. And yeah, that's really all for this episode. Next week, we'll get back to the regular scheduled guests where I'm interviewing someone as listeners of this show know, where you'll hear from a current or former athlete about their story and kind of lessons they've learned that they're willing to share, and kind of what they're up to in their life and all that kind of stuff. So that's what we'll get back to next week. But I just wanted to, as I mentioned, hop on here and just kind of get in, kind of share a little bit of my own personal perspective and my own personal messages and a little bit about me. And I kind of just wanted to share that with everyone who regularly listens to this episode, regularly listens to this podcast. Even if you don't regularly listen, I hope that you do in the future. But if you don't, if this is the only thing you listen to, I really hope you took something away from it. And I just want to kind of highlight all the great podcast guests that I've had on the show so far. It's been tremendous experience getting to learn from all of them on a deeper level, getting to have real deep conversations. And I know it's been valuable to me, and I really hope it's been valuable to everyone listening. And yeah, so with that, I'll see you next week, and thank you for listening. This is the Champion Standard Podcast.